Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome in. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us for the third session of Healthy Conversations for Us by Us. My name is Athena McKay, the Executive Director of Flint Innovative Solutions, and I have a program for you this evening. I have some superstar rock stars. Let me throw this up here once again, just for your viewing. I have Miss Bridget Jackson. She needs no introduction, but she will give a brief introduction about who she is and the phenomenal work she's doing in community over at the North Flint Food Market. We also have Miss Marla Hughes, which continue to make a huge impact at Crim Fitness Foundation. And our usual suspects. We have the phenomenal Doc G, Nurse T, Nurse Battle, and Miss Mildred Zacario that will be joining us this evening to talk about shopping, preparing, and cooking for better blood pressure management for the Improved Hypertension Health Initiative. With no further delay, I just want to take time out to thank our sponsors. The Greater Flint Health Coalition has been a gracious partner in this work, along with Michigan United, the Latinx Technology and Community Center, and that phenomenal woman behind the scenes, Ms. Beverly Lewis at Hasselbrink Senior Center, doing phenomenal things, getting the seniors active, engaging, and living in vitality. This further information and resources come also from our Eagle Impact Grant, as well as the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So as I spoke about earlier, we have a jam-packed session this evening. We have Miss Mildred, Miss Bridget, and Marla, who will be talking about the phenomenal things going on in the community. And we have our health experts. You know, we can't do much without Nurse T, Tanya. I want to say that's terrible too. The dynamic T's. We got Tressa, Tanya, and Tarnisa. So they'll be bringing more health education information. So join me bringing to the stage this mighty powerhouse, Ms. Mildred Jackson. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Could you share just a little bit about yourself for those who may been under a rock and don't know who you are and the phenomenal things as we talk about shopping, talk about the things that you're doing in community and leading the way, ma'am?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. My name is Bridget Jackson. I am the board president for the North Flint Food Market. And as you just said, if there's anybody that's been living under a rock, we are at 5402 Clio Road, right at the intersection of Pearson and Clio Road. And we opened in November of 2025. And so we're almost approaching our first anniversary. Very, very excited. Our goal was to open up a store where we could have healthy and affordable food in the North Flint corridor, as well as offer jobs for the people in the community and to have a place where we say we own it. And so we are a co-op, a grocery store. And our goal is again to be community led, but also to community that makes the decisions. So every month we meet in the Gala Event Center adjacent to the North Flint Food Market, and our member owners actually talk about the things that they want in their store. Different things in a variety, but again, our goal is having healthy foods that we can have and also affordable. And I think our clientele, our customers, whether they be member owners or directly from the community, they actually say that we do have affordable food.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jackson. And just, I should have prefaced it also, but is there something going on later this month that you want to share with the community that's happening over there?
Yes, we will be hosting a community event on August the 29th between the store and the Gala Event Center. And, you can speak a little bit more with the day-to-day of things that are going to happen, but we want people to be there because we have so many different opportunities around food initiatives in our community, and we want our community to be able to understand that and to know that. We want our community to be healthy. It's very, very important. Actually, I was listening to somebody the other day, and I can't even remember who it was, Athena, and they were talking about just your income status and your zip code, which I know that, but the way he said it, it was like, woo, your life expectancy is shortened, and I was just like, wow. But when you think about it and you start talking about community, it makes me community and health, it makes sense. And so we're going to have a big event out on the yard in the parking lot of our store, and we want everyone to be there. It's from 12 to 5 p.m. um, and again, just community focused, because that's what we're all about. I love talking about the store because it's not about one person. There's no CEO that runs it. There's no owner that runs it and they make all the money. But this is community based, community led, community ran, and community voiced.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Jackson. I when we think about partnership, for those who don't know everything that FIS does, we are a bridge. So we don't want to try to recreate wheels. As you see, we have multiple partners in our collaborative, and we bring those together so that the community is more aware of what's available. So one of the ways that we will be supporting the community in the North Flint Food Market is for that the Flint Eats 3.0, which I'm going to share a little. I'm trying to hold it in so we can get everything through. It's super exciting. But I just wanted to mention this part. We will be giving away food vouchers for this event. And so we're still working out the dynamics of it. But know that if you are one of the first, say, 50 people, that you'll get a voucher to shop at the store that day. So you definitely want to be a part. Stay abreast to our Facebook page and our social medias, as well as the North Flint Food Market. And I'm happy to say I own it. I am a member owner, and I'm encouraging all of us to take part in our own food ecosystem. So thank you so much, Bridget. And I will bring you back up if there's any questions. I'm going to put this here too. If you are on Facebook or YouTube, please do drop any questions for any of our panelists, and we will have Q&A later on. Thank you so much. And I love that purple. Thank you. And I see our next panelist in the room. So I had the opportunity to work with this phenomenal, beautiful woman's husband for many, many years as he has transformed the East Side into a vibrant place for community. So, to no further ado, I would like to bring Mildred to the platform. Mildred, in your own language, if you could share some of the resources in your community for folks to shop and to get good quality, affordable food to improve their health.
Tenemos en el condado de Genesee un lugar que se llama La Bodeguita Market, que está 4180 Davison Street en Burton, Michigan, 48509. Ahí pueden encontrar comida latina. Hay como guanábana, mangos, naranjas, cualquier tipo de vegetales. Por ejemplo, hay yuca, lo que es también el taro, y plantains, que a veces es súper difícil para nosotros encontrarlos en otros lugares. En ese lugar pueden encontrar una variedad de comida que ahora sí que comemos en nuestros países y que también son accesibles.
Thank you so much, Bridget. And some of the, I know we're talking about food specifically and shopping, but if you could share just a little bit of what you guys are doing. I saw some stuff on Facebook that's out really exciting that you're doing with the kids. Did you want to share any announcements that you got going on over there?
So at the Latinx, they have the celebration from the 25 years anniversary, and they have like an event with the kids. They have like the STEM program. They build their own go-karts, and they have to teaching like the culture and the language to children, and they have to like the youth program where the teenagers they can learn like how to work in the community, and they can have like a purpose to have like a better community in our neighborhoods.
Thank you so much for all that you do. And I know you are oh, yes. So you share some of the resources that are in the community. Do you know, are those when those stores are available or open?
So the store is available like Monday to Sunday. The hours I don't know, but I will look.
Okay.
The name is La Bodeguita. It's on Davison Road, and they have like Latin products for the community. So I don't know how you say in English, like sour sop, like the green.
Soursop.
Oh, yeah, that one. They have that one over there. So that's
Awesome.
very excited because that's delicious.
Where
Um,
I love
that's
soursop.
4180 Davison Road in Burton, Michigan.
Okay. What's the name of the store?
La Bodeguita. I can type it if you need me. Let me see.
Please, please do. Thank you.
And they have the plantain, they got mangoes, they got guavas, they got a little bit about everything. So
I love soursop too. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you so much.
you're
And
welcome.
Bridget, I'm going to bring you back really quick. Could you share the hours of the store?
I guess I have to take it off mute. Yes, ma'am. Our store hours is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. So we're open every day of the week. People can call the store too as well. And we have some other things that we're trying to get together. We're working on. People have been asking about DoorDash or groceries delivered. And so we're working on those kinds of things and stuff too. But we are open right now throughout the day.
Thank you so much. Real questions, real answers right now. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So I am going to turn it over to our health team. Doc G, Tanya, there you are.
I'm shy.
Let me get your
Good
slides up.
evening, good evening, good evening.
Evening, everyone.
So today, are we ready?
She's getting the slides ready. Yeah.
Okay.
But those are some great items, the plantains and the soursop. I would definitely have to follow up on Mildred's recommendations. Coming from a Caribbean background. Okay. Okay. All right, Tanya, we'll let you start off.
All right, I'll start it off. Today, we're going to continue our conversation on blood pressure monitoring and blood pressure management. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about shopping, preparing, and cooking food that will help us be able to manage our blood pressure better. Next slide, please. So again, we're just to give us an overview of our discussion today, we'll talk about nutrition and blood pressure facts. We'll talk about food labels and how to choose the more blood pressure friendly foods when you're shopping. We'll talk about how to prepare and cook food for better blood pressure management, and also some substitutes maybe for salt, like herbs and spices. Next slide, please. So today, just to give you some blood pressure and some nutrition facts, it is recommended, as we all know, that we try to eat nutritious foods from all food groups. And so that includes our fruits and vegetables, our whole grains, low-fat dairy products, and poultry, fish, lean meats, and nuts are foods from all of our food groups that we should be eating every day. And again, you know, we want to choose foods that are low in sodium and saturated trans fat. And it's also a good idea to look for a heart healthy, a heart check mark, like something, foods that are certified from the American Heart Association. Next slide, please. Nutrition and blood pressure, sources of dietary sodium that are found in our food. And again, just an overview, we should be taking in between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. And it is a fact, I guess, on the average, and Americans take in at least 3,400 milligrams of sodium a day, which is a lot over the recommended amount of sodium that we should be taking. Next slide, please. And I'm going to turn it over to Doc G.
Okay, so I was trying to look in my pantry right quick and see if I had any healthy checkmark things and kind of show that what that checkmark would look like in real life. And so I do have some examples. But so we're going to talk about like shopping for blood pressure and friendly foods. So one thing you will always look at labels. The main thing is to look at those labels. Like I have a can of chicken noodle soup, you know, you might not can see it here. But as reading this chicken noodle soup label, it's telling me like how much cholesterol is in there, the total carbohydrates, and the sodium. And as we talked about before, it has over 890 milligrams of sodium. So this is going to be a pop quiz at the end. Would this be a good choice for me to eat? So first thing, you know, if you don't plan, you can plan to fail. So start by making you a list when you go to the grocery store. Don't go to the store if you're hungry, because I know if you haven't eaten all day, I mean, you're going to go straight to the foods that the first thing that's convenient and is not healthy. So don't shop on that empty stomach. Always try to buy fresh vegetables, buy it fresh if you can. We know with the current climate with the cyclospora virus, it's kind of got some of us not eating as much vegetables, but also like the farmer's market, some fresh vegetables that's been growing around here. And they say shop around this perimeter of the store, like the outside, because most of the aisle caps have those cookies and the processed foods. Again, we say buy that fresh food. Make sure it's just plain, frozen. Remember, no additives like extra sodium. Can again, like this, I found this is not mine because I don't eat meat, but it is in my pantry, which needs to be gone. High sodium item that's loaded, that's going to drive your blood pressure up, going to help you retain water if you eat canned soup. So no salt vegetables. Remember we talked about if you get the vegetables in the can, make sure they say no salt and rinse those vegetables off with water to help decrease the salt content. Always buy fresh poultry, fish, lean meat rather than the canned or processed. Fresh is always better. And convenience foods that are low in sodium. And choose ready to eat breakfast cereals that are low in sodium. So if you're going to get another one I know that have the check mark is Cheerios. You'll find that Heart Smart check mark on Cheerios. You'll find that Heart Smart check mark on oatmeal. Next slide, please. Okay. Ooh-wee. A little bigger, please. Shopping for blood pressure healthy foods. You all grilled chicken, plain fish. Thank you. I don't have my readers. Okay. Yeah, 100%. Yes. Okay, so grilled chicken, fresh fish, anything that you're cooking, you want to make sure you're not adding any additives to it. We talk about the herbs and stuff, like, you don't want to add any additional salt to the food. They have like Mrs. Dash and different variety of flavors that's using fresh herbs and different type of spices to make the food aromatic, the aroma and the taste. So always get like the low fat cheese. We talk about like low fat cheddar cheese, low fat to no fat cheddar cheese. Always, the low fat salt free chips and nuts and pretzels. Plain rice, noodles and paste, pasta, homemade, low sodium or reduced soups. We just talked about that with my can of soup here. And again, fresh salt chips, crackers, nuts, popcorn. Just limit the amount, watch the amount of sodium. Biggest thing is reading the label and really getting into what we're putting in our body. Regular canned or instant soups are not to be used, canned vegetables, and then we know like the soy sauce, MSG, fish sauce, bouillon cubes, ketchup and Cajun seasoning, and even like our Lori's seasoning salt that we would use, it would be high contents of sodium. So we just want to make sure when we're getting our food that we keep them flavorful, but removing the excess salt content. The next slide, please. Okay. All righty. Okay, so again, when we go into the store, we already made it clear. We don't want to go on an empty stomach. We want to start out and plan, what we're going to go shopping for. Look, you might go to your physician or nutritionist that may give you a certain calorie, like if you're diabetic or you have kidney or certain medical conditions, you would want to check with your physician because they would have a certain diet for you. So again, get into reading those labels and choose foods like more wisely. We're not just make one smart choice a week. We don't have to make all these big changes, but we do need to make changes that are healthy by reducing salt, fat, trans fat, hydrogenated fat. These things also raise your cholesterol, the fatty in your blood. So watch for high sodium, because what we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks, high sodium brings water, excess fluid in your body is going to cause your heart to have to pump harder. So now that's going to increase your blood pressure. On average, higher salt intake, higher blood pressure. Read the labels if it's know what they mean, free, very low, or reduced salt. And some diet items can have more sodium or more, even though they might have saccharin, they sacrifice something artificial to increase the taste. So be mindful of all the labels that you're reading. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to do a comparison. We have frozen peas versus canned peas. So I'll read the frozen peas. So frozen peas, we have the main thing too is reading that serving size. It says 1/2 cup and it can serve 3 people per container. So you're going to have 1/2 cup of these frozen peas. That's going to give you 60 calories. It's no fat, no saturated fat, no cholesterol, and the sodium is 125. It's 5% of your daily amount. Carbohydrates are about 11, dietary fiber, and they got sugar and proteins. Now let's go over here to our canned peas. Okay, so we're going to have the same serving, that 1.5 cup, and that means 3 people can have a serving out of this can, and 3 people can have a serving out of the frozen bag. So now, if we look at the cholesterol, still did 0, no fat, but then we look at the sodium is jumped. So now it's at 380 milligrams versus 125. That's almost all, eating into how much sodium that you can have for the day. So we're looking at wiser choices and the better choices for our bodies. They help to decrease our blood pressure and not to add additional sodium. So we would go with the frozen peas versus the canned peas. But if you didn't have the option or couldn't afford the frozen peas, or all you had was the canned peas, you would take those and rinse those either with bottled water or filtered water to decrease the sodium content. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're talked about those cereals. I don't know, we got Jenny Craig and Medifast, but okay, so the different cereals here, we got the one package, and they both are one package. And this one, the mixed berry, you can get 7 servings, and then the Jenny Craig only is 1. So you go down here, you got sodium is 150 in the mixed berry crunch cereal, And then also we have cholesterol zero. And then when you go over here to the frosted oat cereal, you have about 210 milligrams of sodium. So as we come to the questions, which one would be the better choice? We know we always want to choose the lower option of sodium, and also we have to watch out for sugar too as well. And next slide. Okay. Get used to your taste. It takes about 30 days or so for your taste buds to change. You know, they say at least about 30 days, 6 months for your taste buds to change. So flavor your food with salt-free seasoning blends. Again, we said the fresh or dried herbs. And then, you know, a lot of times we want to get the water boiling, so we'll put the rice, the salt into the pot for the rice and the pasta or hot cereal. Eliminate that because that's going to cause additional sodium with the food. Again, they keep reiterating, rinse canned foods like even tuna, beans, remove some of the sodium. And another thing is if you're tempted, and I have a habit of that myself, Tanya can attest to it, is we're at a restaurant, even before I taste my food, sometime I want to grab the salt shaker and I have to put it down because I haven't tasted my food. And a lot of times, even when you're going out to eat, your food has enough sodium in it. So just take the salt shaker off the table, put Mrs. Dash in there or some other flavorful seasoning to take the temptation away from adding additional seasoning. And then I'll turn it back over to Tanya to read the final slides.
Okay. Now we're going to talk a little bit about cooking our food for better blood pressure management. So, what are some herbs and spices that we can put in our food that we can eat every day that's going to be a better option than, as Dr. Gordon has said, than cooking with salt? And some of this stuff, I think, we all have in our pantries, like garlic powder. It's good for a number of food dishes for seasoning meat, fish, veggies, salads, nutmeg, onion powder. And I found the onion and garlic powder is a better option than onion and garlic salt. So again, anything that says salt is gonna increase our sodium intake, which is in turn gonna raise our blood pressure. So next slide, please. So what are some other things that we can do at home to reduce our sodium intake when we're cooking our food? We can, again, eat more fresh food, more fruits and vegetables that are naturally low in sodium. Is a better alternative than eating lunch meats like bacon, hot dogs, or sausage and ham. Choose foods that say low sodium. If you buy processed foods such as broth or ready to cook dishes, choose ones that say low in sodium or no sodium. Or buy plain whole grain rice and pasta instead of products that have a lot of added seasonings. At home, we can eat more at home instead of going out to the restaurants a lot. We can say no salt whenever it's possible. Just try leaving out the salt. It's an acquired taste, I think. But when we choose our health, when we eat to live and not live to eat, I think that's a better justification for not putting salt on our food. And last but not least, we can go easy on the condiments such as soy sauce, salad dressings, ketchup, mustard, and relish, and they all contain a fair amount of sodium. Next slide, please. And some cookware that we can use, some cooking tools, are nonstick cookware, a vegetable steamer, and also I guess it would be easier for us to have a spice turntable. That's even kind of fun, or a garlic press to help us make better options when we're cooking our food. Next slide, please. And I'm going to turn it back over to Doc G.
Okay, so we look like we have a activity for a recipe makeover. Can we bring that up there? Okay, so let's look at the common recipe for a taco pizza. You can identify 5 modifications that can be made to create a healthier version for a taco pizza. So the ingredients that we're going to use for a taco pizza, we have ground beef, we have packaged taco seasoning, Pillsbury crescent rolls, canned refried beans, and shredded cheese, and canned black olives. So the other recipe has the same thing. So we have 1 ground beef, 1 envelope of taco seasoning, the 2 cans of Pillsbury dough, the refried beans, shredded cheese, chopped tomatoes, half slice of black olives, and 4 chopped green olives. So in this recipe, where do you think a hidden source of sodium would be? It's going to be in your shredded cheese, because we've talked about the low-fat cheese. It's also going to be in the taco seasoning. If you do use taco seasoning, they do have no sodium or low sodium, because the seasoning, again, we talked about those seasonings. Some taco seasonings have a lot of sodium. Next slide, please. Okay. 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 Recipe makeover. So this one has, I talked about that, and the makeover shows that we talked about is that reduce sodium for taco seasoning. It uses half of the seasoning packet, and then reduce the dough that you're going to use, reduce fat, make your own refried beans like with olive oil, onions, garlic peppers, and pinto beans, and low sodium broth. And then again, we talked about those cheese options, the reduced fat cheddar cheese. And then also it's good for the chopped onions, chopped tomatoes, black olives, and the green tomatoes. Those are good. And make sure that you're washing those well in this season. Okay, next slide. Okay, now we'll turn over to Athena for discussion.
Thank you so much, Dr. G. And Tanya, let me bring you back in. I want to ask you to, sorry, let me get this situated. So, couple of questions, and everyone, please put your questions in the chats or comment. So, Dr. G, specifically to you, because you don't eat meat anymore. And
Right.
one of the biggest challenges I went through is the mindset, right? Because I always bought what we've always eaten.
Right.
And I thought deviating from that meant you wouldn't have flavor. And so I'm learning to switch up and increase my recipe, my repertoire. So what do you do without meat? What are some of the things that you do when you're shopping?
Okay. Well, when I'm shopping, a lot of the vegetarian or vegan options, you can find them in the frozen food. So we know with processed, even with the vegetarian or vegan, you have to watch out for the frozen and the processed. Like we say, fresh is always better. Like my daughter, she does a lot of cooking. She uses a lot of herbs. She uses a lot of mushrooms. And so actually she helped me get started with cooking. So I kind of try to stay away from, I will have some of the frozen because they have all the same options. And that's how you look at someone like, well, you're vegetarian, you still got a little meat on you because you have those other options where you can be getting the frozen and the processed stuff. So, because, there's a lot of goodies that you can eat. Oreos, they don't have, animal fat in them. So it's about making those healthier choices. And it is a challenge because, especially for me now, with what's going on with the Cyclospora, and then like I said, how you talk about the fresh fruits and vegetables. So having a salad, having some fresh vegetables, those things are kind of challenging without making sure you have to wash them. So I just go through, make sure I'm not getting too much sodium in the processed stuff, but they have some good stuff like beef patties that are vegetarian or vegan. They have hot dogs, hamburgers. They have everything that mimics the meat, but then it also comes with the extra sodium. So you can also eat unhealthy as a vegetarian or a vegan if you're not conscious of eating fresh and making sure look at your repertoire, getting a cookbook, getting back into, cooking at home and finding different alternatives. So you don't have to lose the taste. You don't have to lose the, the culture behind it. Just have to make it, slight changes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Tanya, you said something that struck a nerve. You said if we eat to live. Do you want to tell a little bit more about that?
Well, you know what? Actually, our partner in crime, Nurse T, told us that our last session. And you talking about a shift in your mindset, and that's exactly what she said. How she had to train her mind, to see that I'm eating to live instead of live, because we like to eat,
Mhm.
but we can't live to eat. We have to, again, do what we're talking about here, make those better healthy choices. So
Thank you so much. Again, everyone, please drop your questions in the chat. I'm going to bring up our partner in life, instead of in crime, Miss Marla Hughes. Hey, Marla.
Hello, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, and we're so excited to have you too. Could you tell folks a little bit about what you do at the CRIM? And also just, I was intrigued to hear about some of your shopping programs and what you do for community members. So I just wanted to share with our community at large some opportunities and your expertise.
Thanks, Athena.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, if you're from Flint, you probably know what the CRIM is known for. The big race that happens in about 12 days. The big CRIM race, it's the 10-mile race that runs, well, there's many different distances, but the big, the main event is the 10-mile race that runs through the city of Flint. And what a lot of people don't know is that the CRIM actually does other things. And so that's what I get to do. I'm the Associate Director of Neighborhood Impact. And we are a neighborhood-focused team. And we go in and we teach nutrition education. We do physical activity education and sessions. We are in the built environment world, policy, built environment, food access, which is something that I'm really excited to talk about today, and placemaking. But with our nutrition education and food access work, we get to work with different neighborhoods around the city of Flint. We just recently did a nutrition series called Food Smarts with the Clark Commons neighborhood. And so that was about a 4-session series where they learn all the things that, were taught today, which was fantastic. And a lot of it is what I have in my notes, so I don't even think I need to go over them. But it's neighbors coming together. It's not just a classroom. It's not just education. It's neighbors coming together, learning about how to live healthier lives, learning to move their bodies, learning that you don't have to have a gym to be healthy. You can do things at home. You also don't really have to be, a trained chef to know how to learn how to cook healthy food. So at the end of that series, we do something called Cooking Matters at the Store. And we take, the group will tell us what grocery store they want to go to. And Miss Bridget, we definitely encourage them to choose North Flint Food Market. And I'll talk about a Cooking Matters at the Store tour that we did there. So the neighbors come together, we all meet at the grocery store, and it's about an hour tour, and we'll walk through and go through each of the 5 food groups. But the ones that, stand out for today is when we get to the frozen foods, we get to the canned foods, and we talk about how, what I like to tell the participants is when you learn how to read food labels and you know what those things mean, it gives you power, and it gives you power over the choices that you make. And so we talk about exactly what the 2 ladies that were talking before me, rinsing your vegetables. If all you have is canned vegetables and you don't have the low sodium, you're still going to get some vitamins and nutrients. So make sure that you are either choosing the no salt or low sodium. and adding your own seasonings or rinsing what you have. And that goes the same with canned fruit. So when you have canned fruit, when I go to the grocery store, I'll show them the 3 cans, and one is in heavy syrup, one is in 100% fruit juice, and then there's a tricky one, and it's no sugar added. But if you look at the ingredients, remember that power that you get from reading food labels, they sneak in some artificial sweetener, which, it's not the healthiest for our bodies. So we talk about, choosing what, the 100% fruit juice. And then with the canned vegetables, you want to look for the no salt added. Another great thing is at the end of our grocery store tour, we do something called the $10 challenge. And every time we do it, people kind of freak out a little bit. So they get a $10 gift card, and they have about 30 minutes to come up with a recipe or something that they would like to make at home and purchase with that $10 gift card. That includes all 5 food groups, and it's only $10 to feed a family of 4 or 4 people. And so one really neat story about the Clark Commons experience was, we had a couple ladies in the group, and they're just a 1-person household, and they were doing some shopping, and they ended up putting their gift cards together. And, one bought a big bag of rice, and one bought maybe a bulk size of broccoli, fresh broccoli or something like that. And so it was really neat to see how food brings communities together, how it brings neighbors together, and they were able to really kind of double their money and get to make more food. And it was really neat to see the meals that they chose to create. So that's a really fun part of the grocery store tour that we do. We do these grocery store tours. So if there's anyone that is interested in a grocery store tour, I can have my email is mhughes@crim.org. Or if you're looking for a grocery store tour that might be happening, feel free to email me, and I'd be happy to let you know when one is coming up. But we did a grocery store tour at the North Flint Food Market, and it was so fun. And I have to say, and I tell people this all the time, the prices are great, the selection is great, and the participants had a blast. So yeah, let's see if there's anything else that I wanted to share. Oh, one tip that I thought that helps me stick to, eating healthier, also saving money. So that's another thing that we like to teach when we're doing these grocery store tours, that when you are eating healthier, a lot of people think that it's more expensive, right? We've been told that eating healthier is more expensive, but if you really look at it and are watching those food labels and watching your dollars, you'll see that your dollars can really stretch. But one thing that I like to do, and I know North Flint Food Market is working on this, is to shop online and pick it up. Because then I'm not going in the store and seeing the cookies and, the chips and things like that. So that's one way that I save money. And I also save that sodium and calories and sugar. So that's another tip that I like to share with people. Another thing is, I know we talked about the 5 food groups. Try to fill your plate, half of your plate, with fruits and vegetables. So if you think about, a 10-inch plate, half of that, if you have your fruits and vegetables or all your vegetables for dinner or something like that, that's a good way to know that you're getting those nutrients, and seasoning them yourself. So you can get the frozen broccoli, but just watch for that frozen broccoli with cheese sauce. It's going to taste really good, but you can also make it yourself. Like they mentioned earlier, having, the low fat cheese and maybe some garlic powder, and putting that on your broccoli instead of having that sauce, which is going to have more calories, more fat, more sodium. So that's a great way to still eat healthy food, still enjoy your food. You just have to get a little creative and get your power back by learning to read the food labels.
Thank you, Marla. I'm trying to find a image really quick for the 5 food groups. Can you just share?
My plate? Yeah.
What are those 5 food
Five
groups?
food groups. So we have fruits, vegetables, dairy, whole grains, and protein. So Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So half of your plate is fruits and vegetables. You've got a really healthy plate.
Grains, proteins, and dairy. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Marla.
Thank you.
Being tricky with this technology over here. There was one more slide. I'm gonna bring that up really quick that Dr. G handed over to me. So Marla mentioned it as well, the physical activity, and Dr. G mentioned it, and Tanya as well. They go hand in hand with your wellness. So I'm going to read it from this slide. I'm paying attention. But physical health, physical activity, and blood pressure management. And we've had our nutritionist Quinn on the call as well to talk about this. But you don't have to have a gym. You don't have to be buff. You just need to move. And yes, I hear the temptation of not picking up them cookies, but walking through those aisles is another form of activity as well. So one of the things that I do, because I'm in front of a computer most of the day, is I park further away. So if you're physically able to, that's just another way to get more steps in. So evidence has shown that regular physical activity can lead to a significant reduction in blood pressure and improve other cardiovascular risk. So we need to be creative and actually go back to some of the simpler things that we do. We used to walk all the time everywhere. And so getting back to some of the basics of how we can improve our health. And as everyone on the panel has said, is taking ownership of your power, taking power back. Moderate physical activity has also been proven to decrease blood pressure in hypertensive patients who are less responsive to medical treatment. I have a high tolerance for some reason. I'll blame Lucille and Paul for that. But my body doesn't operate the same when I'm not moving. It's like, as soon as I start exercising, it's just the consistency, as we've heard before. As soon as I get moving, then my body's like, finally. And as soon as I slack off, the weight just is like, oh, cool, let's chill. And so that's one of the things that being consistent and moderate, and consistent and moderate to make those improvements over time. Our last two bullets here is a healthy dietary pattern coupled with at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week. 150 per week. That's not a lot as we think about how much time we may be using scrolling or watching TV. 150 minutes per week can help to optimize energy balance. And then physical activity can help keep you at a healthy weight and lower your blood pressure. The guidance from the physical activity guidelines for American recommends that adults get at least 2 hours and 30 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, such as brisk walking or bicycling every week. That's about 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week. And we got seven. So these are some tips on how we can take our power in our health, of our overall physical activity. And I'm surprised I haven't heard much energy around from Hasselbring, but I know they are moving. I was in the office today and they were doing their drum exercises, walking through and to and from the center. So these are ways that we can continue to live in vitality. Remember to wash your fruit, wash your food and your fruit. Read the labels. It's a simple thing, but it takes that extra time that you take to read your labels is critically important. I'm going to ask my panelists, all of you, to come back on and share some last thoughts before I jump into some exciting community announcements. Okay. Who would like to share one more tip for our community, or just even a personal experience? Dr. G, you always have something good.
I'm trying to be quiet. I'll let the kids. I know Bridget and Marla has something. Because I know for me, my last minute tip is just basically to, remember to enjoy, what you're eating, and limit, the sodium, and just have those healthy swaps, and just having that mindset of creating a healthy eating pattern. That's like 3 or 4 of us.
I would, I guess, like to share and say all of these were wonderful things. I don't have hypertension. I've never had that issue or problem. It's crazy because I have low blood pressure instead of high blood pressure. And so I had that attitude for a long time. Well, I can eat whatever I want to eat. And as I'm getting wiser, one of the things that I would say to everybody, you might think that some of the things might not apply to you right now, but I've hear a lot of people say, my husband says it all the time, we have to eat to live. And so when you all said that tonight, that was the one thing that I would say is a tip for everyone. Like to write that down, let that become your mantra. We want to eat to live, not live to eat, because sometimes we can eat things that we're not supposed to. And to make sure, again, we're shopping on that exterior. That makes a big, big difference.
Thank you.
Something that I've kind of learned recently, and I've been doing is, when you're making dinner or a meal, and you want that side dish, a lot of times, I used to, when I was a busy mom, I'd grab that, that rice packet, and you make it with the seasoning, and it's quick and easy and it tastes good. So I stopped doing that, but then it was like, well, I don't want to just eat plain rice. And so I started adding, instead of water, I would add low sodium chicken stock, or you could do low sodium vegetable stock if you're a vegetarian, and some garlic powder. And it is so good. And then you add some vegetables to it. So that's something that I've been doing and trying to reduce my sodium. Yeah.
Thank you, Marla.
And my last tip, I would just say that it's a marathon. To institute these changes just subtly, it's not a sprint, and we're not going to do it overnight. But definitely it can be done, and then you won't even miss the salty taste.
Awesome. And Miss Mildred did have a prior engagement, so we were blessed to have her for a short time. If you notice, she's not on the screen now. My tip is, and what I'm doing is I am building out my farm. And so as Dr. G was mentioning, being conscious of your lettuce and not knowing where your farm, your meat and your food come from. Well, some of mine will come and have come from my backyard. And so I would strongly encourage everyone to take on that, even if it's a small herbal garden, and if you're an apartment, there's things that you can do where you are to control what you eat. And then if you're not a farmer, I know I was having a conversation with somebody like, well, I just kill things. So I don't have a farm. I'm not going to waste money trying to grow anything. But go support your local farmers. So if you're not a farmer, get to know your farmers. And there's a lot here. We're only 2 stones away from rural community. So you have Flint, Flushing, and then you have farms. I'm in Montrose, and I have 5 acres here, and there's farms that are like tens and hundreds of acres of land and crops. So, and I don't know them, so I'm preaching to myself too, is get to know your farmers. If you see an egg stand, people are out here, people are raising chickens and things. And so that was something that came up when prices went up. We did what like Marla was mentioning, we combined our efforts and we're able to support each other. So we're buying from our neighbors. So that would be my tip, is grow your food. Then what you're growing what you like. If you have surplus, you can barter it or sell it. So yeah, that would be my tip for everyone as well. Okay. So I got your last thoughts, and I'm excited too, because everyone on this call too is a part of our next announcement. We and as you know, ladies, I'm going to shift the screen just a little bit. As you know, we have been talking about the Flint Eats app for many, many, many years, since 2018. We are now at 3.0. So the Flint Eats app is having a launch party, and I'm over here. But the Flint Eats app launch party is August 29th from 11 to 5 at the North Flint Food Market. We are so excited. Marla is going to help us have a chef cook-off, and we will have the food vouchers for the market. Bounce houses, Miss Beverly is helping us organize some of the activities in the yard. We'll have a DJ, so many activities so that we can center ourselves around the food ecosystem here in Flint. We'll have live demonstrations on how to use the app. It is available now. So go ahead and go to your Play Store or your Apple Store, download the Flint Eats app 3.0, and you will be able to see the stores in our community, their hours of operation. There's also food pantries. And we took the ideas and the thoughts from you all, from community, and incorporated them into this app. And so we'll have some listings for farmers and community gardens. Come out, everyone, and bring your, Hasselbring is starting a garden. Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. Over at 2111 Flushing Road, Hasselbring Seniors will have a garden right there for our members. So as we conclude, I want to just encourage everyone to, as been mentioned, let me stop covering my face. As has been mentioned, take control and power over your health. Nurse T says it so eloquently. We need to be determined to live a life of vitality. And so when you shop, your consumer dollars not only feed the economy, but they feed you and your family. So be mindful of what you consume, be mindful where your dollars are spent, and support local. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you at the launch party on August 29th, as well as our 4th session of the Healthy Conversations for Us, by Us, because food is medicine. Thank you so much.